Evening, guys. I just finished watching Daredevil, season 3, episodes 1 and 2. Figure I cut it short this time because I'm kind of having stuff going through certain episode memory blackouts and shit. Pardon me for the language, but it kind of sucks when I pause and when I start to pause and lose track of what I remember. So I'm looking to keep it short, and especially when it comes to listening to other people's live streams and stuff at the same time. But first, let me go over what went down in season 1 and season 3 of episode 1. Matt, yeah, it starts off with Matt from a waking up from a coma that he was put in, which probably takes place at the end of the Defenders series when where he and Elektra kissed and embraced while they were ended up trapped underneath the rubble. Matt wakes up in a church surrounded by nuns. His injuries were worse. His left his left ear was having a hard time hearing things, and he was struggling to regain his full potential. Even kids were not allowed to go into the infirmary to check on him, as an old acquaintance of his was there to nurse him back to health, and much more. Meanwhile, Karen was looking at Matt's apartment after learning that he was Daredevil, remembering how Matt can sense things as they struggled to reconcile. Matt wanted to leave Daredevil behind, but Karen kind of finds it hard to believe, finds him difficult to believe. Foggy, even Foggy and Karen noticed that Matt was being evicted from his apartment while he was being relocated to another complex. Kingpin was still in prison, calling for all inmates to be quiet as his appeal was being processed. Matt has Matt was having trouble seeing and moving in the dark and hearing things. Yeah, and hearing things. He gets back to boxing later on, but stop, kind of got, but ends up getting knocked out. But eventually he gets back to fight. He gets back to fighting crime in black, but has trouble taking down two guys while while successfully having rescued a woman and her father from a beating. We also a man a man named Ray, who was part of the FBI, struggles to get his job struggles to get out of financial debt and meets up with the kingpin seeking help from him. Yeah, that and now we come to episode 2 of the third season, guys. Daredevil. Well, hang on. Let me take a moment. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Let me check. Hang on. Just a second. Yeah, hold on a second. Just gotta make sure that. Hmm, hmm. Well, okay. Now, I don't, to me, now before I start episode two, I have to give some thought. I don't know why Daredevil would go back to wearing black after the fact, but to me, it kind of feels like going backwards. And, well, yeah, it kind of feels like going backwards by having him go back to black. I mean, is there any reason to why the people in charge of the third season start decided to regress? I mean, why have him go back to wearing the same black uniform and costume stuff when just when he got that suit, the Daredevil suit? I mean, why? Because to me, I kind of if you all know the three strikes you're out method, well, here I feel like this is a bit too far for this approach of going back to having him wear black. Kind of feels like a bit going back too far. However, next now we can go on to episode two of this season. It starts off with the FBI one of the raiding a homes of a local mob family after being given good intel from Wilson Fisk in prison. Ray was having the time of his life when he had the FBI raid that place and arrest all those goons and stuff. That he wanted to keep using Fisk as a get get every, get every criminal we want with the warrant we need kind of free. He was using Wilson Fisk as a blank check to raid the city of criminals and stuff. Of course, at the beginning as well, Fisk tried to kill one of the inmates for stabbing him with a shank, but he spares him, which is with some good restraint, and that's good too. That's very good to see Kingpin show some restraint, not go killing anyone just for stabbing him by surprise. Clearly, it was a response to having give for being a snitch in prison. It was a response for being a snitch in prison. Yeah, Ray wanted to use him as a blank check to arresting every criminal in New York City, while Fisk was only doing it so he can help Vanessa. Meanwhile, Matt remembers his years back in church back when he was young, listening as a kid, listening to people's prayers and how much of it never is always the same. He woke up and he wakes up back in his apartment with his helper with that same woman that with the same nun. He then comes across some happy cleaners for advice on where to find the two thugs who mugged the old man and threatened his daughter. Karen meets this woman. Karen and eventually runs into this woman who ran away from the muggers in the hospital who didn't trust her at first, but then she ends up giving her as much intel as much as she knows about what went down, and even told Karen about about Murdoch going back to fighting crime as the in black as the black costumed vigilante that he was before becoming Daredevil at the end of season one. Meanwhile, Foggy Nelson visits some relatives of his along with Jess inside a small restaurant joint, carrying a bottle of wine and of alcohol and stuff. Yeah, he sure likes drinking. Just as Matt as the black vigilante investigates a clothing store and takes down two of the guys that got away from him in the first episode. He he even cuffs them up. He even cuffs them up to a to a metal fence that was inside the back that was inside the warehouse of the store. Yeah. Then he goes to the hospital to let the young to let the woman and her father know that the guys who threatened them are now behind bars. Also, Karen ends up crashing Foggy's happy hour at the small restaurant by telling him that she believes Matt's gone back to fighting crime as Daredevil, but with a different disguise. She even gets disgusted with Matt Foggy when he keeps telling him when he keeps telling her the same thing over and over again. And then she walks out on him, and it leaves everybody in the place confused. He says, "What? Oh my god, that was funny. What? Yeah, sorry guys, I scared you." Yeah, what? Yeah, I kind of embarrassed him. Now, this episode ends where, well, this episode ends with Fisk being escorted in a police FBI convoy over to another federal prison, only for the only for the convoy to be ambushed by a bunch of thugs who end up killing almost everybody in in each vehicles. They were looking to get the kingpin. They were going after the kingpin, but then they all get taken out by a mysterious individual who somehow survived the assault, survived the offensive, and he took off with him, leaving Matt and everyone in New York City alerted by the kingpin's escape. And that guy Ray, who was trying to use him as a blank check to arresting criminals, he ended up getting killed in the ambush as well. Wow, who would have thought? Yeah, they had to bring Kingpin back, but well, I guess I'll find out sooner or later once I get further. Right now, I got 11 more episodes left to go of the Netflix Daredevil series, and the Born Again show is set to premiere this coming Tuesday on the 4th. But God, I hope I can get in touch with the Dooleys in time to have them join me for Legend of Zelda on March 12th, because I really did want enjoy following them every day. But for now, I'll have to stay calm and be patient. And I hope everyone enjoyed this review of mine, because I had to write notes down on pads of paper to help memorize what I've seen, so I can give you guys as good a review as I can. Now, take care, everybody, and good luck.